Chapter 9.2 of A Son Returns. Word of a doctor once or twice a month ran the length of the hollow like leaves before a wind. Amos Toller had a small room with a door up to the side porch. He cleared it of boxes and barrels and turned it over to Cady. Up the forest paths and down from the heights came people with their torments. But they were an obstinate lot. Aunt Joyce McLeese wore a lump on her neck that Cady remembered from boyhood, but she never had crossed the mountains and wouldn't do so now for surgery. Cady fetched in iodine salts. Granny Height showed fine progress from the elastic stockings he brought her, but she almost boxed his ears when he suggested less trotting about on errands of neighborliness and mercy. Grandsir Beckett had been relieved of his chunk of goat grizzle, but still had his rheumaty. My advice, Grandsir, is less terrapin hunting, keep out of the swamps, and maybe you'll lose those tweaks and live to be 90. 90? I'm 94 already, and a diamondback stew's worth some twinges. Tatum Trevitt, a cave-belly old gallus, sidled into the bare little dispensary. I hear you're a doc. Trying to be, Uncle Tate. Well, I've got the trots. Started 2 months ago and hain't let up, by Jiminy. Shooting pains in the joints, ankles that big. Mouth tastes like the bottom of a woodchuck's nest. Cady scanned the swollen eyelids. What pork are you eating, Uncle Tate? Razorback, smoked him myself. Bring me a piece of that pork, at once. Thin-chested Philera Vasey came in, herding some of her 15 children. The youngest was in her arms. I don't rightly know what's the matter with Omar, doctor. He screams at night like my man with the horrors. His little head sweats and his skull ain't closing. Cady took the child. You don't nurse him, Aunt Philera? Never was worth a shuck at it for any of them. We've rickets here and maybe something else. I'll make a few tests and later I want to look at your cow. Mrs. Cornett came in. Once a fine figure of a woman. She was frail and bent. Doctor, I want you should drop in on my godlove. He just sets. More than formerly, Aunt Eulalie? It used to be when there was sang to dig. Now it's all the time. What's more, the setting around took Augie, Ono, Debbie, Eliezer, and Vernice. How's the shoe supply at your house, Aunt Eulalie? We have 4 pair, counting the 2 with holes a squirrel could walk through. For 8 people? Your lazy ones have ground itch? It began with blisters on the feet? Yep. Then it reached the arms, busted out orful. Now it's kindly like a crust. Mrs. Cornett, this magnesium sulfate is to go into everybody at night. And in the morning about milking time, these capsules. 2 hours later, more of the sulfate. In addition, I prescribe a deep pit privy and shoes for all, right away. Gideon Lee was brought to the consulting room, pushed by his woman. Uncle Gid had once been a hickory tree for strength, and he still ducked doorstops. Marilla demanded, Doctor, tell me why my man won't hoe or chop. I tell her it's the bullet in me, pleaded Gid. In my back. It's been there 8 year. Up with your shirt, Uncle Gid. We'll have a look. Cady ran his hands over the elderly but vigorous muscles, feeling nothing. You're sure it's there? Touch it every day. Marilla won't believe me. Cady decided to try shock methods. He laid out with a showy flourish, hemostatic forceps, amputation knife, retractors for holding a wound open, and an 8-inch saw. Gid's eyes bugged. What's them things? Surgeon's tools. He produced a 5-foot rubber tube with a bulb. We'll clean out your stomach first. Swallow this end, Uncle Gid. Marilla, see if Ob Hardy and some young big fellows are handy out there. Your man may need holding. I ain't a-going to swaller that, shouted Gideon. Fact is, I ain't noticed the bullet lately. Maybe it's dissolved. Could be, Uncle Gid. Cady felt around again. It would have been a joke on both of us if I'd opened you up and found it gone, eh? Ha ha, joined Gideon, not mirthfully. He tucked his shirt in. Now, Gid, said Cady, you march straight home and lend Marilla the helping hand she needs. Does the yard need cleaning up, Aunt Marilla? It pure do, said Marilla grimly. Felton Annabelle, an unshaved youth with an axeman's shoulders, slid into the little dispensary. Cady viewed his hulking form inquiringly. Don't tell me you have anemia or insomnia. Doc, can you go in and look on a cabin tomorrow? What cabin? Why? Case of gunshot. Good heavens, why don't I go now? It hasn't took place yet, but it's a-gonna. Cole Trevitt's up and married the girl I wanted, Vonnie Peters. Cady pinned the youth with a stern eye. I don't ride these hills in order to aid a planned murder. Good grab, Doc. I'm only going to go aim for Cole's legs. You don't want him to bleed to death. It took some direct language to convince Felt that such a shooting affray would result in a report to the sheriff. Felt Annabelle left, gloomy and wrathful. There, perceived Cady, goes one who'll bear me plenty of ill will. Already there were others. But it was the case of Corey Beckett that interested him the most deeply. Corey, he perceived from the first, was a rare and special being. Now he had learned that she was everybody's favorite with her sunny heart, her patience, her merriment and pluck. Whether flat on her back or in her chair, she managed to seem more alive than most girls who were about on their 2 feet. The blast to her spine hadn't touched her brain or speech. With this eager personality assisting him, Cady felt that he could accomplish much, though she had become used to her plight and would have to be given a new goal. Uncle Bide built for her, at Cady's directing, a deep tub with hearth, piping, and exercise rack. Entering the hollow and leaving, he always turned in at the Beckett place. How are the exercises and the warm water going? And the massages? I do everything you tell me to, and Ma rubs and rubs me. She should have help. I'm asking Silver Moon Annabelle to come here 3 or 4 times a week and work you over. She's a girl who could become a grand nurse with encouragement. Now, Corey, I'm going to hold this stick, and you're going to put both hands on it and take a few steps. Oh, she was about to say I can't, and he knew it. Their eyes met. She said, I'll try. Feet scuffling the ground, she did manage a tiny bit of progress, but had to give up. You're to do a little bit more every day. Dr. Peeler, do you really think? Again their eyes met. He probed the very well springs of her character and being. Corey Beckett, I want you to believe this. You are able to walk. I do not intend to stop coming to the hollow until you do it. Her eyes stayed on his. You believe me? Her lips parted. I believe you. I can't come riding to the hollow all my life. I don't expect to stay forever at the mills, but invalidism sometimes becomes pure habit. I'm going to get you on your feet because you're going to help. Oh, I will. She only breathed it, but he knew with what intensity. Reading into her inmost self had not been, it occurred to him, a one-way view. The thought startled him.